Welcome back to the Athletes Podcast. This is episode 70 featuring Brad Keller, a starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals organization. An absolutely hilarious interview. Brad's got some amazing insights into the Major League Baseball, what it's about, what it's like growing up in Georgia, going from playing high school ball to playing at the MLB opening day. A crazy, crazy interview. I hope you enjoy this episode of the Athletes Podcast. Here we go. Oh, there he is. What's up, Brad Keller?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, man. How about yourself, brother?
Doing well, doing well.
You get rid of that team meeting that you had earlier today, or what?
No, it's actually later today. I have to go to we have to with the whole COVID thing where we have to go to the field at like separate times. So like I was supposed to go at like 11 and be done the rest of the day. Well, now I have to go at 1:30 and then our team meeting's at 3. So
It's
all
mess,
so
hey?
stacked up. Yeah, sorry for moving it around so much.
Dude, I'm just happy that you are on and appreciative that I get to spend 45 minutes chatting with the Kansas City Royals starting pitcher, man.
Appreciate it. No, thanks for having me on.
100%. How's your Saturday going? We normally are interviewing during the week, but we get you on here on the weekend. How's it going?
Yeah, I mean it's going good. Just like I said, the whole COVID thing. Like I actually had to go get tested because of the whole intake testing. So I came out here on Thursday. Our technically start date is until Wednesday, so I came out here a week early because we have to, do like a intake test and then kind of chill out for a little bit and before we get our results back, and then we're allowed in the field. So, I mean, it's just slow. It sucks because you want to do so much stuff because Arizona is a lot of fun, especially right now where everyone else has snow on the ground and it's 85 here. So,
Dude,
but
we're -7 right now, about 6 inches
oh
of
man,
snow.
that's
It's a
brutal.
struggle. It's a struggle.
That is
Such is the
brutal.
life in Ontario. But you know what? I get to live vicariously through you. What's Arizona like right now? How much fun do you guys get to have in that downtime?
I mean, this year will be a little bit different with the whole COVID thing, like I said. But I mean, usually like spring training is one of my favorite parts of the season. Like everyone gets together, especially early on when we're at the field for at most 2 hours, so we have the rest of the day to just kind of hang out. And right now, like I'm a big golfer, and basically our whole team golfs too. So that's kind of what we do every single day. We go to the field for the 2 hours. We got to be there in the morning, and then straight to the golf course and just play golf all afternoon. And
I
then
was
yeah,
uh,
it's great.
I was checking out your swing on Instagram. It's pretty solid. Who's got the lowest cap on the squad?
Probably Whit Merrifield.
Yeah.
He's a stud. He golfs a lot too. So, we have a lot of good golfers. Honestly, like it's always like fun competitions. Anytime we get out here, and so, and that's like kind of the trash talk between everybody is like make sure your golf game's right by the time you get to spring training because everyone's coming for everyone's wallets.
Just got priorities are straight, hey?
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I do want to say thank you very much for coming on. Super pumped. I think you're our first MLB player now officially. We had NCAA Owen Diodati on, but first MLB player. So episode 70 for the Athletes Podcast, we're fired up getting you on. And it's interesting because when I reached out to Excel Management, Kelsey there, who was awesome, she brought up the fact that and you actually mentioned the fact that you were already listening to Adam Schaefer's episode. So that fired me the heck up. What did you think?
No, it's awesome. No, it was so ironic because literally that morning, I started listening to podcasts like driving to workouts and stuff, and I literally came across the Athletes Podcast, and it was like so ironic. I was like, I swear, like maybe there's like some tracking device or something because I literally clicked on, started listening to some, and then that afternoon you reached out, and I was like, this is crazy. So it was wild.
That's awesome. I'm fired up to say the least about that. So I'm glad we get to feature you now because you're a stud in the MLB. You go from I gotta sort of wrap my head around, and I'm excited to share your story with the listeners because you've got a pretty damn incredible journey to the MLB. Like going
Appreciate it.
17 years old, you're drafted out of high school and you work your way up to opening day, your first opening day MLB debut, and you go out there. Like that's crazy. Walk me through kind of what that experience was like getting drafted on a Friday. You have your grad party and your draft party on the
Saturday.
Saturday, and
Yeah,
Sunday you fly out to Arizona. Best
yeah.
weekend of
I
your
mean,
life?
hands down. I mean, it was such a whirlwind. I don't even remember like I remember, so that afternoon, we went out on the boat. We were like, Friday afternoon, we were like, we're going to get our mind off things. Let's just go have fun on the lake, whatever. So we're sitting there just having fun. And I get the phone call. We're actually on our way to go eat lunch. I get a phone call from the guy, the Diamondback scout. It was like, hey, man, like, we're about to draft you. Like, make sure you're watching. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is actually happening. So I'm sitting there with my whole family, and we're sitting there and we watch it go through, and he calls us and he was like, like, blah, 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 this is how much we're giving you. We drafted you, like, will you accept it? I was like, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, just a small kid from Fire Branch getting an opportunity, to go play professional baseball is, a dream of mine from when I was, 2 years old. So yeah, like, get the opportunity. I just kind of sat back in awe that whole time, the rest of the day. And my parents are, trying to, because at the time we had my grad party on Sunday, scheduled for Sunday. So we had to move everybody. We had to call everyone that was invited. We had to move like catering up, everything to Saturday. Because he told us, he's like, hey, like, your flight's at like 7 a.m. on Sunday. So, we were just like, wait, what? Like, there's no time to think, no time to anything. Had the grad party. I wasn't even packed by the time the grad party was over. Like, me and my mom, I went and bought a suitcase that afternoon because I didn't even own a suitcase. So we went and bought a suitcase that afternoon, laid it on the bed after the grad party. I was just throwing her clothes. She was just packing her away. Next thing you know, I'm 17 years old in the middle of Arizona. No clue, like, how to act, what to do. I was clueless. So fortunately, I had a pretty good group of guys, college guys that were drafted the same year with me with the Diamondbacks, and they kind of took me in and showed me the way that they kind of learned things going through college and how to act and stuff like that. So I got, like I said, they took me in and showed me the ropes, and I enjoyed every single moment, all the way. Like, a lot of people say, like, the minor league grind, and it definitely is a grind, but I mean, I didn't really go to college, so that was like my college experience. So I tried to enjoy it as much as I could. I didn't want to look too far ahead, because like when I first got drafted, I was sitting there looking at the roadmap, I guess you could say, and it's like 7 teams in the minor leagues, and every one of those teams are full, and I'm here like the very last bottom of the team. And it was like, just to get it, from rookie ball to low A seems like the biggest jump ever, let alone high A, let alone double A. I'm like, there's so many people, like there's no way, if I had that mentality of like constantly looking up that high, I was ever going to make it there. So I was just enjoying where I was at, enjoying every moment, and, making the most out of it, hoping that I was going to get that next spot.
One of the coolest parts about sort of that story was the fact that you were living your college years playing minor balls, double A, single A. And the story that stuck out to me was in Missoula, Montana. You've got 5 guys living in one house, all sleeping on blow-up mattresses, not using any electricity. Like,
Yeah.
but you're biking to your games with your gear on your back. Like, how do you explain that to now, current day, where you are representing the Kansas City Royals, signing multi-million-dollar contracts?
Yeah, I mean, that was anytime anyone asks me about the minor leagues, that's my first story, just because of how crazy it seems looking at it now. But when I was there, I thought it was the most fun ever. I mean, we had 5 guys living in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. We didn't want to use any electricity, water, nothing. So we all went and bought the most expensive thing in our apartment was a $30 foldable table. And we like him and hauled over buying that, because we were like, dude, that's way too much. Like, we can't do that.
That's like $6 each.
Missoula's a big, yeah. Right? But like Missoula's a big biking community, and everyone bikes there. Our whole team, only one guy had a car. Everyone else had a bike. So we were the furthest away from the field. We were 2 miles away from the field. So every day, bike 2 miles to the field, bike 2 miles home. And after, like, if we were going on a road trip, we would have all of our luggage, everything strapped over our shoulders, and we were just biking 2 miles. So it sucked. But I mean, there was one story that we were headed home, and we had a tire blow in the middle of nowhere, Montana, like no service, no nothing. We ended up getting back into Missoula at like 6 a.m. So we had no sleep. Get on a bike 2 miles home just to take a nap, just to bike 2 miles back and play a game that night. It was one of the craziest things ever. But
The minor league grind just sounds insane. Some of the stories that come out of those leagues. I
it,
worked. Go ahead.
I was just saying it's awesome. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it. Looking back on it now, it was like I've had some stories. I was like, I can't believe that happened. But like I said, in the moment, it was just like, this is fun. You know what I mean?
100%, especially just coming from a small town in Georgia. I'm sure that's like those are the years you're never gonna forget, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I just think I'm sitting back and like I said, I'm from Georgia. Here I am playing baseball in Montana, like a state I never thought I'd ever visit, and I have so many stories out of there. And it's just like crazy. Like I played in Colorado, played in Vancouver, Canada, like played in Hillsboro, Oregon, played all over. Like never would have thought that I would ever be playing baseball in those states, but I made it. So
Yeah, good old Nat Bailey Stadium in Vancouver. Hey, that's
dude,
my hometown, White Rock, BC. So I'm close. I've seen a couple of Canadians games.
those games we played. I was playing for Hillsboro Hops, and we played the championship there, and that place was rocking. That was a
Yeah,
lot of fun. That
they
was a
have
good time.
the hey y'all in left field. They got that big stands. I think there's a couple too many people getting into those.
It was the best part because like they were throwing like hockey chants at us, and it was like it was awesome. I loved it. It was so much fun. I mean, they were ruthless out there, but it made the atmosphere so much fun.
100%. I think that's the beauty about sports. I'm sure that's one of the things that you probably miss now, last year, especially even with
Mhm.
no fans in the stadium. Tell me what that's like, how you kind of are getting yourself psyched up, maybe pregame, during the game when you don't have the crowd behind you rallying you guys going.
Yeah, that was definitely the hardest part. Like usually, whenever you're amped up anyways for your start, and you start walking out, and as soon as you step out into the dugout, you hear the buzzing of the crowd, and like it's like you just kind of get that little extra adrenaline burst like right away. But this year it was really weird because as soon as you stepped out and you didn't hear anything, there was nothing. There was at the time they usually didn't even play music until more players came out, so it was so weird getting used to that, and you kind of had to develop your own adrenaline spike where you like almost psyched yourself out. And I mean, obviously once the game started,
Hmm.
adrenaline took care of itself because that then you're competing, you're back into what you love and what you do. But just that like early warming up, you kind of had to develop your own a little bit of adrenaline spike.
Yeah, and then once Whatever It Takes by Imagine Dragons comes on, you're good to go, right?
Absolutely, that song gets me dialed in every time.
I love it. I love it. The other thing that gets you dialed in when the karaoke machine comes on is Friends in Low Places, right?
Oh yeah, that was my rookie sing along, my karaoke on the bus, friends in little places. I got about 2 lines in and then got booed off the mic. So
well, it's funny because 2 episodes with Monica Examet, she's a big Eminem fan, so we thought, this is maybe something we can incorporate. So I have the music here lined up
oh
if you want
no,
to
I
go
can't.
for two.
Something's in my throat. I'm sorry. I just
I figured we had to try, throw it in there, see if it
yeah,
was a
yeah.
possibility. Let's take it back to your high school days though, because I think that's an interesting note. You said you were a multi-sport athlete playing football. You're a big guy, 6'5", 230, 250, depending on what website you check out. But the your big kind of claim to fame and what got you noticed was the fact that Clint Frazier, who ended up getting drafted 5th overall in 2013, was in your division and you were playing against him and you struck him out twice. In that
Mhm.
game, you get 5 letters the next day from all your scouts who noticed you, kind of figured out who you were. What was going through your mind? Because I know at that point you're just playing baseball because you love the sport, you love being with your buddies. It's senior year, but you got to know in the back of your head that those scouts are watching that guy and you strike him out twice. What's going on in your mind?
Yeah, I mean that was a whole crazy day in itself. I mean, it was freezing cold outside. I just remember like they told me I was pitching against him. I think it was one of our first games, and like it was okay, like my first start of my senior year, and I get to face Clint Frazier, who obviously highly touted all his high school career. I mean, talking top 10 picks. I think he ended up going top 10. So we actually had to bring in a whole set of bleachers for how many scouts are going to be there to watch him. So at that time, I wasn't honestly, I had no idea. Like you said, I was there to enjoy my last year with my best friends. playing high school ball. We had a really good team, and obviously our goal was to win state. So that was the only goal, and they were the number one team in our region. So if we were going to meet our goal, we had to beat them, and obviously Clint was the guy on their team. So that was our whole mindset, was we had to win that game. So going into that game, like, I was there to have fun. Obviously, I was pretty locked in going into the game because they were the best team in state, and he led off the game. And not only, like, it was just like thrown in the fire right away. It's like, all right, here we go. Like, let's figure it out. So first AB, I threw 3 straight fastballs and I struck him out.
Nice.
And I don't remember anything else or whatever happened. I think we ended up winning the game 1-0 or something. I don't remember I remember us winning, but I don't know what the score was. But his next AB got up there. I threw him 3 straight sliders and he struck out. And then his next AB, which we joke around about this all the time, but his next AB, he hit a mile high pop up. Like, he just missed it, mile high pop up. And it dropped between our center fielder, shortstop, and second base, and he got a double. And so he still lets me know he had a double off me, even though it should have been caught. But it was a good time. But yeah, like, going in that game, I didn't even put any mind to getting drafted or even getting noticed. Like I said, I just was going out there to compete against Loganville and try to beat them. And right after that game, I was walking out of the locker room, and our head coach handed me a pamphlet of all these letters, and he's like, yeah, a lot of the scouts came over right after you were done and handed me all this stuff. And literally right after that, the rest of my senior year, I had at least one scout at it to watch. So I mean, it was crazy to even think that was a possibility of getting drafted, and fortunate enough it happened.
Yeah, I mean, just mind-boggling what would have been going through your head at that point. And you obviously pitched well, so it's just crazy how that ends up happening long term. And you end up now, and I kind of attribute it to the fact that obviously you were able to perform in that game, whether you knew or not the ramifications of striking Clint out twice would end up leading to XYZ getting drafted, whatever. But I think that kind of spurred you on to making your MLB debut on your first ever opening day. Like, you'd never even gone to an opening day as a fan watching the sport, and then you're on the mound pitching for the Kansas City Royals. What the heck's going through your mind in that? Is any similarities?
Yeah, I mean that was, I blacked out. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. I mean, I just remember the day before, actually, no, it was that afternoon. We were taking BP, and Blaine Boyer, who at the time was on our team in our bullpen, many years of experience. He came up to me. He's like, hey, this is what I want you to do. He's like, when you get the call to finally, make your debut and pitch, and you're coming, because at the time I was in the bullpen, they're like, when you cross the doors, he's like, I want you to take everything in. He's like, that run, you'll never forget that run. He's like, look up, remember the crowd, remember the noise, remember who you're facing. He said, as soon as you get on the mound, though, it's time to lock it in. This is a great moment, but you still have to go out there and perform, because if you don't, you won't get these moments anymore. So I kind of took that to heart. And I remember when the phone rang, and I'm sitting there, and opening day, I'm not expected. I feel like I was the last guy on the roster. I didn't expect to make my debut on opening day. And I think it was the 6th inning or so, and they called down, and as soon as the phone rings, my heart drops. My stomach just turned into knots, and our bullpen coach turns to me and said, hey, you're in the game. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, are you sure? Was there a mistake? Are you sure it was me?
You sure he said Brad Keller?
Yeah. So I ran over there, and I just remember being shaky, really nervous. But once I got on the mound, I felt calm. I don't know, most of the time people say it's the exact opposite, feel calm in the bullpen, but once you get out there, you kind of freak out. So I think I had my little freak out moment early, and I was able to go out there and kind of settle down and be able to get 3 outs in my debut.
Yeah, crazy story. I'm glad, and I think it's important for people to kind of get an inside view of what's going through your mind at that point, because it's a pretty special moment for you, and I'm sure it's probably almost on the same level of when you guys played the Braves for the first time. You're in Georgia, you're having to buy 65, 75 tickets for that weekend. Like, was that on the same level, or where would you put that as far as ranking your top 3 moments playing professional
Um,
ball?
yeah, I honestly think the Braves game was number one on my list. I mean, that was so special. That was the first time, I was able to pitch in front of my whole friends and family group. Like, I've had a lot of friends and family come out like periodically and watch, but um, even to this day, like when I go back home, I have so many people come up to me and they're like, I was at that Braves game. Like, it was just really cool. Like, it was a really special moment. Like, I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm from a small hometown, so I'm pretty sure my whole hometown was there. That was facing, Freddie Freeman, Brian McCann. Brian McCann basically was like a guy I literally watched his whole career, and I'm sitting there facing him as he's in a Braves uniform. Just one of those really, really special moments. And hands down my top baseball moment to this day. I mean, it was just having my family there, getting to see, the BP the day before. I was able to go, behind the turtle and get all my whole family down on the field and get to talk to them. And also, Truist Park, brand new park, first time. That was actually my first time there, and I was actually playing there. So it was really special. I mean, it just brought back so many memories as a kid, because I spent literally every single birthday at Turner Field from when I was probably 6 to about 13, 14 years old. I spent every single birthday there because, I mean, I just grew up a huge Braves fan. So it was hands down number one moment in my baseball career.
It's got to be a wild dynamic going from fan to then playing against those guys, right? And I mean, I think in another interview you mentioned playing against and throwing against Albert Pujols was kind of like your big aha moment of like, hey, I'm in the NBA. This guy's trying to hit a dinger off me, and I got to make sure I don't screw up, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. I have no experience of what that's like, but do you have any methods that you use for calming your nerves down? Any specific ways and remedies that you've kind of added into your routine?
One thing that I was taught relatively early in my career was, like taking deep breaths and almost like looking away from the moment. Like, for me, when things start to speed up, I try to like find somewhere obscure in the whole stadium that like there's nothing around. Like, for me, it's like at Kauffman, right above home plate, we have an awning, and on top of the awning, there's like a little light, and I just will stare at it and take like 2 big deep breaths. And it just feels like when things start to speed up, it kind of calms me down. And like some places out, it's the foul pole, like the tip of the foul pole, where it's like way out in the distance. And it's just like kind of like a mind reset where it's like, okay, like things might not be going great, or, we might be in a big situation, or, I had that little aha moment where it's like, wow, like, kind of sends chills down your spine, but you still have to go out there and compete. So finding a way like that for me was definitely big and kind of helped me settle down my emotions, nerves, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I don't think people realize, I think they lose sight of the fact of how much pressure can be on you guys, especially as a pitcher. You've got, the ball's in your hands literally, and
Yeah.
you're dictating what's going to happen on every time you throw that ball. Jordan brought up an interesting note here, and I'm going to read it off the screen. From release of the pitch until a ball gets to the plate, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball is around 425 to 450 milliseconds. Now, on the other side, it takes 150 milliseconds on average for a Major League Baseball player to get their bat around. As a batter, I know we mentioned the fact that you were not a hitter by any means. You've made that clear. But what do the batters look for in a pitch to determine whether to swing or not? Because you're a guy that can pull it back and hit 99. What's going through your mind to make sure that they don't make contact? What are you aiming for?
I really rely on movement a lot. I feel like, oh, if you ask any hitter, they're
Your
like, they don't
slider's
care.
disgusting.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. But if you ask any hitter, like they're like, if it's straight, they can time up a jet. Like, if it's straight, they can time it up. But if it moves, then it's a little bit harder. And so that's something that pride myself on, is trying to move the ball within the strike zone to get a little bit weaker contact. That way, not getting barreled all over the park. And, only lasting a couple innings. So that's kind of my goal. I mean, I try to throw it hard with some movement. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because I think we have a lot of listeners from a bunch of different demographics, a bunch of different sports, right? Like, I love to showcase athletes and the wide variety of them. We've had Olympic javelin throwers, we've had
wow.
hockey players, baseball, like, yeah, man, you name it. I'm trying to just showcase athletes in general. So I think you're a unique one because you were a dual sport athlete all the way through high school and then had to specialize once you got drafted. But one of the things you noted was the fact that you didn't love having two-a-days in football, grinding through workouts. It didn't become fun for you. And I think that's one of the main things that I want to showcase with the Athletes podcast is the sense that athletes should play a variety of sports throughout their career, especially growing up. Like, there should be a variety in your day to day, like going and throwing a baseball 100 times per day for 12 years straight is not going to be good for your arm. Incorporating
No.
some football training, incorporating some basketball, whatever it is. What do you attribute most to your success? Was playing football a huge pillar for you to be able to succeed now playing Major League Baseball?
I definitely think so. I think playing different sports growing up was huge. Not only does it, teach you different sports to be good at and different ways for your body to move and be athletic in, but like it teaches you like leadership skills. Like football is way different than the way baseball is, especially like baseball is a team sport, but it's also, one-on-one when it's pitcher versus, hitter. So football is all 11 guys versus the other 11 guys. Like it is full on team. Everyone has to do their job. Not that, baseball is the same way, but when it comes down to it, pitch by pitch is also one-on-one. So like, it teaches you a lot of different like unity, teamwork. I mean, both sides, just different aspects of it. But I just think one thing is just I never got burned out on one sport over the other. Like it was the perfect balance to where football ran right into baseball, baseball ran right into football. There was no like, I only played baseball year round and then it's like, well, I'm over this. And then it's like, well, then now what? If you got burned out in 1 year, it's like, well, now you don't really have a sport to go play. It was just like at the time I was having so much fun and I loved both sports equally. And it was like there was breaks, but there was no like burned out where I just was over it, didn't want to play it ever again. It kind of kept me interested in both sports at the same time.
Yeah, and that's kind of golf now for you as well, I assume.
Yeah, golf. Yeah, golf's my second sport. Although it's the most frustrating sport in the world, it's still my second sport.
So if you're to pick your ideal foursome, you get to choose three other people from around the world. Doesn't matter what age, dead or alive right now. Who's your ideal foursome going to look like?
Are we trying to win a tournament or are we just having fun?
That's a great question. Let's do no. Let's get you want to pick their brain for 18 holes and three individuals who you think would be an ideal group to play golf with. 4 hours having beers, seltzers, whatever you're drinking.
Yeah. Tiger Woods number one, just because I want to get my golf game right, so I got to get take his.
It's a good start.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey, because I'm currently reading the book right now, so I'm a little dialed in on him. So
I listened to Green Lights. Great book.
Yeah, great.
What do you think of it so far?
It's great. It's unbelievable. I love it. So like I said, I'm dialed. I'm a little invested in him right now. I feel like it'd be a fun round if I had McConaughey.
That would be an unbelievable time.
Yeah. I think playing around with one of like Clayton Kershaw or one of like the best pitchers in our game right now, just to try to pick his mind and hear what he has to do and how he goes about his business, and trying to see how he's able to stay in the game for so long and do it at such a high level would be a lot of fun to kind of listen to what he has to say.
I like that. That's a good group. I think you guys might have a chance of winning a tournament too.
Yeah, we got Tiger Woods on our team. That should be enough.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Kershaw as a guy who's kind of, that pinnacle of performance right now in the MLB. I know a guy, John Smoltz, was your guy you looked up to growing up. Is there one guy other than Smoltz, that you tried to emulate your game after, or try to take pieces from specific pitchers that you're trying to apply to your game now?
Honestly, not really. Like John Smoltz was like the guy. Like I try to throw just like him. I loved watching the Braves. I never really like loved watching one single player unless it was John Smoltz. Like that was like the one guy. If he was pitching, I was turning it on. Like it was so much fun to watch. He was so dominant at, many different roles that he played. I mean, he was just his demeanor on the mound, like how he went about his business, how he attacked guys. Obviously, his stuff was electric. I mean, no doubt Hall of Famer, obviously. So it was just a lot of fun to watch him perform, and I definitely seemed to attach to it pretty well. And so I try to emulate everything that he did. So he was definitely a guy in baseball that was like, I want to pitch like John Smoltz.
Okay, so who was your guy in football then?
I
know you're playing tight end.
Yeah, honestly, that's tough.
This is what we do on the Athletes Podcast.
I'm more of college in football. Like I love college football more than I like NFL.
Okay.
So growing up, I was a big Michigan fan and a Georgia fan. I know it sounds crazy, and I catch a lot of grief for it from everyone. But growing up, I was just a big college football fan. I loved college sports. I loved watching guys go out there and compete. Like Saturdays in the South for football is nuts. So that was the one thing. It never really was one specific player. It was more so the teams like Michigan and Georgia. So
yeah, I saw on your Instagram the big house was that was a big pick that you had up there. You made sure you throw it up with the boys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was a good time. That was actually my first time at a game there. I was actually supposed to go the year before for the Michigan-Ohio State game, and it fell through somehow and wasn't able to go. So my uncle, who's a season ticket member there, he was like, well, I'll make it up to you. We'll go to the Penn State game. And that game did not disappoint. It was a night game in the big house, and it was electric. So much fun.
It's one thing that this COVID has eliminated is the ability to travel down to the States. One of the things we're trying to do is do some tours, meet up with the people that we interview, do some training, do some fun videos. So we'll definitely be touring around and checking out. Where's one golf course we should go to when we come visit?
Whistling Straits in Wisconsin was nice. A really nice course. Very, very hard. Yeah. I will say very tough, but it was one of the beautiful courses I've ever played. Like par threes over water, cliffs, all that stuff. It was immaculate. It was a lot of fun. So that's definitely one place you have to visit. And they have like multiple courses where you can play. It's not just like the Whistling Straits. They're part of like a little group that all their golf courses. We played 2 of them in one day, and it was a lot of fun. So that's definitely one course you've got to check out.
All right, we'll book it in. We'll make sure that you're available. We'll do it on your off days,
All right, dude.
So we're gonna do some rapid fire questions. First off, we know pizza is your favorite food. The real question is, does pineapple belong on it?
No chance. They're just completely different. Like it's a fruit. Like you don't put fruit on. Like pizza's like not supposed to be healthy, and fruit's like supposed to be healthy. You know what I mean? You're playing for the tie at that point. You know what I mean? You got to go one or the other.
I'm on pineapple on the pizza. I enjoy it. I think it adds a nice little sweet tang in there.
I guess I really can't answer honestly because I've never tried it because I've been like grossed out by it. So I guess I had to try it in order to have a legit answer to it.
So when we go play Whistling Straits, we're gonna get pizza with pineapple on it, and then we'll make a video out of it and make sure that we know and get the final verdict from you. Your doppelganger, you were referred to as Rory McIlroy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You said you'd take it. When I heard that, I thought it might be a bit of a stretch.
I'll take it solely because of his golf game's electric.
There you go. Okay, there you go.
I was in an airport in Houston, and this lady tapped me on the shoulder. I was standing in line, and I think it was like Starbucks or something. She's like, "I'm sorry to bother you, but are you Rory McIlroy?" And I was like, no, but I can't be."
If you close one eye and then the other, I could be.
yeah, exactly.
You're a slightly taller, slightly larger frame than Rory.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, clearly she's not a dedicated diehard golf fan. In 2019, the average regular season game length was 3 hours and 10 minutes. That has jumped to 3 hours and 38 minutes in the postseason. What causes these postseason games to go so much longer? Is it commercials? Is it the intensity? Or is it strictly the fact that the MLB is trying to cover more airtime?
I think commercials are big in getting the length of the game. I mean, I think obviously the intensity and the strategy in playoff games are a lot more prevalent, and they're a lot more intense. I guess you can say, but I don't think that changes how long the games go.
Hmm.
It might, in the sense of, more relievers come in because there's bigger situations that guys got to get out of. But I think ultimately, like, commercials kind of make the game go a little bit longer as far as on TV. Because I've
Gotcha.
gone to a few postseason games, and they didn't seem any longer than what a normal game was. But I don't know. They were also a lot of fun to be at, so I don't think the 20 minutes was a big deal to me. So
Yeah. What's your take right now? And I hate to bring it up, but Super Bowl just happened.
oh,
Obviously, the
tough.
Chiefs were not successful, but Kansas City is becoming a sports hub. I think when you got guys like Patrick Mahomes leading the field for the for the Chiefs, you got guys like Brad Keller coming out for the Royals. I mean, you've got the Jayhawks in there. What's Kansas City like? I want to get a bit of the inside scoop so that when we come visit you, we know the places to go, people to see.
Yeah, Kansas City is one of my favorite towns ever. It is a blast to be in. The fans are diehard. My first 2 years, we lost over 100 games, and they were still they were still so invested into us, and we still had fans. Like, it was still so much fun to be in Kansas City. With the buzz of the Chiefs, like, it's just like electrified the city. Now, like, you just feel the buzz, like, and now everyone, obviously we've made some big moves this offseason. We're trying to win. That's our goal.
Mhm.
And like, you can just kind of feel it in anytime you're in Kansas City. It's like, that's like what they expect. Like, they went to the World Series in 14, won the World Series in 15, and then the last 2 years here, or 3 years, honestly, lost in the AFC Championship, wins the Super Bowl, and then goes to the Super Bowl this year. Like, it's just been a lot of fun, and like, the sports has kind of brought the city together. And honestly, like, the city itself, it's a big city with like small town vibes to it. Like, it
Mm.
feels like everyone knows everyone. It feels like everyone is so nice. Everyone, like, is pulling for you, not only like sports wise, but just in general. Like, everyone, I haven't met like a rude person in Kansas City yet. I mean, the city is so much fun. It's a great place to raise a family. Like, it is. I'm very thankful to be a part of Kansas City.
Yeah, you got out of Cincinnati just in time, hey?
all
It's
all
a
the 15 minutes I was there with Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually had a very similar response. In 2016, I went down, worked in the West Coast League for the Corvallis Knights baseball
Oh,
team
nice,
down there,
nice.
and there was a couple of guys who were playing in Kansas, and they said the same thing. It said it's an amazing place to be, grow up. So I was interested to hear, and I'm glad to hear it's the same thing because I think it's going to be, especially for the next decade with
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
Royals and Chiefs. Like, this is going to be a
yeah.
place to be. I'm excited for when we get to go down and come visit. Sports cards are a huge thing right now. Everything's popping off. Gary V's got everyone buying them at 5 times the price that they were 6 months ago. Are you into collecting them at all? Would you collect them? Do you got a couple of your own rookie cards? What's going on?
I've never collected them in the past. I always enjoyed like opening up the packs, but I never collected any of them. But I do have some of my own, which is really really cool. I never thought I'd see the day where I had my own baseball card. Um, but I actually, a guy on our team, Daniel Tillo, he collects them, and like, hearing him talk about it is actually really cool, because like, it's crazy to think, but it's like having an autograph. I mean, Mike Trout's went for like a lot of $1 million. I don't know the exact number, but like, that's
Jordan might
that's
pull it up here.
crazy. That is crazy. Like, it's baffling to see, and just to have an autograph. Like, I remember I never going to the Braves games. I never was the one. I was way too shy to go ask for an autograph. But anytime I saw something autographed by a player, it was like that is so cool. Like he actually grabbed a pen and signed that, and then now it's like right here in front of my face. Like that was really cool. So I could definitely see how people get really excited over autographs like that, especially on a baseball card.
Yeah, you got your buddy over there who's making more money from his sports cards collection than he is from his salary. Yeah, look at that. 3.936 million for Mike Trout's signed card. That is
That's insane.
ridiculous.
For one card.
Bonkers.
It's
That's
insane.
wild. In the starting nine interview that just was recently published, you said that if you could go back in time to watch history, you would choose watching the Braves win the World Series in '95, same year you were born. I think that might be a coincidence as to why Atlanta's had this struggle for so long. Georgia, more specifically, for winning championships. Are you the curse? Are you the guy that's going to bring that back to Georgia sometime?
I don't know. They need to break that curse some sort. I mean, it's been, being a Georgia fan too. Like it's not only pro sports, it's also down in the college sports too. I mean, the 2017 national championship when we lost to Alabama on that Hail Mary in overtime, like that was just crushing.
Mhm.
I went, so one of my best friends played on that team, and I went with them the whole journey. I was at that SC championship game. I didn't go to the Rose Bowl. I was going to, I didn't go. That was one of the most unbelievable games. And then it was like, okay, like national championship, winning the whole game, and then this guy named Tua comes in as a sub and balls out and ends up winning. Crazy, crazy story. But it just like seems like that's the way Atlanta sport. I mean, same thing with the Falcons, 28-3, had this incredible lead and don't win. It's like Atlanta sports get right there and then just can't cross the finish line. So I don't know what the curse is or how to break it, but it needs to be broken soon.
There you go. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe Brad Keller winning with the Royals will be that spur of the moment that Georgia needs to get back on.
Yeah.
Wrigley, you want to make your first appearance there a special one. You haven't pitched there yet. I know you've talked about getting out onto Fenway. That stadium's incredible, still immaculate despite
Mm.
how old it is. Like I went down there in 2018 when the Red Sox won their 100 and something game against the Yankees, pummeled them like 12-1. So
Yeah.
ridiculous game to go watch. I know Wrigley's that next check for the box that you want to get off the list. How excited are you to play and to pitch in that stadium?
I mean, that's definitely like the holy grail of baseball, it seems like I was fortunate enough to pitch in Fenway. Um, they say Fenway magic is real, and it's 100% real. Like the adrenaline is like no other that you get at Fenway. I don't know what it is. I came out of the bullpen there and I was beside myself. I don't even know. I'm talking about blacking out. I don't remember anything. I just remember being on the mound, adrenaline through the roof, feeling the best I've ever felt in my entire life. It was just such a cool place to be. And actually, we do this thing with the Royals that we get to bring our dads on a trip every year. And that was
Nice.
my rookie year, and I got to bring my dad with me. So it was both me and my dad's first time being at Fenway. So we got to experience that together. And, they took us on a tour through the whole stadium. My dad got to hit BP on the field. We got to play catch right in front of the Green Monster. We both got to sign the Green Monster. It was one of the coolest series 3 days ever. And get to spend it with my dad was really special. So that was awesome. And, hopefully have a similar story with Wrigley. Because I mean, I mean, I went and watched the game there. I watched the Dodgers play the Cubs when I was actually playing in Lowe, which was just outside of Chicago. So
Mm-hmm.
me and our trainer at the time, we took a train down into Chicago, got tickets to the game, went and sat behind home plate, and I was just like in awe the whole time, being like, we are sitting inside Wrigley Field watching a game. This is the coolest thing ever. And to actually be on the other side of the fence would be really, really special. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I get to play in Wrigley soon.
Yeah, we'll definitely be tuning in when that happens. I'm sure it'll be, if not this year, in the coming years for sure, and it'll be exciting to watch you perform at that level. The other fact of the matter is you're only 25. Like you are a young stud in the MLB pitching for the Royals. How are you managing the fact that, you've got some high expectations now? You performed extremely well this past year in comparison to your other previous years. A part of that coming from just being maturing as a player, but How much pressure do you feel, or do you feel any now going through these games, having to perform at an elite level every single time you take the mound?
I don't try to put any more added pressure than what's already there. I mean, every
Mhm.
game's, very intense, and obviously, like, you want, being just the competitive nature that we all are, it's like you want to win every game. So to put added pressure on is dumb in my sense. I just try to go out there and compete to the best of my ability. I try to prepare as best as I can. Try to lean on our coaches, lean on our veteran guys, like helping, like watching how they go about it, trying to adopt some of the things that they do that's going to help me get better, and just trying to keep learning. Like, that's to me, I think that's the biggest thing. When I was my first year, I was told, like, hey, like, sit there, don't speak a whole lot, but just, listen, take in as much as you can, take in as much information. And honestly, that's the way I still am. I try to, sit back and listen to everyone, whether it be older or younger than me. I want to hear everyone's story. I want to hear how everyone goes about their business. I want to hear how everyone got here. It's really special to see. And, you kind of try to pick and choose things that, will help yourself get better. And that's what I ultimately try to do.
Yeah, it's I feel the exact same way. That's why I started the Athletes podcast. It's crazy. Like I was talking to Jordan earlier, but I'm like, if you told me a year and a half ago that I'd be talking with a starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals, I would have laughed in your face. But it's pretty incredible. So thank you for making that happen, man.
Absolutely. No, thank you guys. It was fun.
100%. We got a couple more questions before we wrap up. I'm
Okay.
curious what your biggest misconception was prior to making the MLB. Like, you're going and you're a high school kid, you didn't even go to college, so you went from 0 to 100 real quick. How like, what did you expect? What were some of those things that you thought were just going to happen in the MLB and maybe didn't?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question. Like, it is drastically different, the major leagues to the minor leagues. Um, but I think the biggest difference is just the gameplay. Like, the consistency through the whole game is so much different than the way the minor leagues is. Like, it's every single guy, especially in like bullpens. Every single guy comes out, seems like throwing 100. Every single hitter is one of the best hitters in the league. Like, that's why they're there. Like, it is. You can't take a pitch off. Like, I feel like sometimes in the minor leagues, like, you know, there's some guys that, you might, okay, I can get away with doing this to this guy, we'll be all right. Like, I feel like that's not the way it is in the big leagues. Like, it is every single pitch you have to be locked in, because anything could happen. 1 through 9, same thing with their pitching staff. Like, whole starting rotation, whole bullpen, everyone is, that's what I think is so much fun, is like day in and day out, I get to go and watch not only our guys compete, but like guys that we're playing against. And it's the best. And like seeing guys come out of the bullpen and seeing like how funky they throw or how nasty they are is just, it's really fun to watch. And every game, is different. Every game plays different. Everybody, hits differently, fields differently, throws differently. So it's so much fun to watch. And every day is a coin flip of what you're gonna get. So
Yeah, I've become more and more of an MLB fan as I've grown up, simply because there are so many intricacies involved with the game. It's a wild one, and I think sometimes pitchers get a bad rep because they only have to perform once every 5 days. How do you deal with
all the
the?
time too.
Yeah, so how do you deal with that? Like, what's your rebuttal to? Oh man, you only have to work one every 5 days.
Yeah, my rebuttal. I mean, we all of our work is done behind the scenes, except for that one day. Like, we start that day. The next day we have like a heavy lift, heavy run day, and that's before the game. That's before even some of the position players show up. We're like the first guys there getting it out of the way. Next day we throw a bullpen. Obviously that's before practice as well, like before BP. So we throw a bullpen the next day. Next day we're throwing and running. Next day is another lift with a run, and then we're pitching on that fifth day. So most of our work is done behind the scenes, and that's what we get a bad rap for. I agree, but we're still working. We're still doing. We're still getting our bodies prepared for every fifth day, because like in order for us to feel like we had a successful day, we want to be able to pitch sixth, seventh, eighth, even 9 innings that day. We want to be able to be the guy that not just me, but our whole rotation. Like we want to be the guy that's going to give our bullpen a break. That way, every time they come in, they're the freshest that they can be. So we get our work done for the 4 days that we're not playing, so that we're able to go out there and get 6, 7, 8, 9 innings in.
Yeah, I kind of laugh when people start to chirp baseball players or any professional athlete for that matter. I'm like, you're an armchair coach at this point. Like, just, sit back, relax, enjoy your beer, let the pros do their job, right? Have you met Bo Jackson through the Royals organization?
I have, yes. Great guy.
How sick was that?
It was one of the coolest experiences ever. I mean, he's greatest athlete of all time. I mean, arguably, like he's done it at such a high level on both sides, football and baseball. I mean, it was one of those like shocking moments when I met him. I was like, this is Bo Jackson. It's what all stories of sports are circled around. Like he is the guy, It was really cool to meet him.
Yeah, that would have been mind-boggling, an end goal for sure. One of the things that you and I have in common actually is the fact that we've both have had COVID.
Oh, nice. There we go.
Yeah. Something we can relate on. What was your experience like?
Mine wasn't bad at all. I had a stuffy nose and a sore throat for like 4 days. And then I was good to go. I lost my sense of smell for probably about 2 weeks. And then even like surprising, even like today, it gets really spotty. Like yeah. It's like, I'm like, I don't smell anything. And then I start freaking out. I'm like, did I get it again? Like, I don't know. I lost my taste for like 2 days. So it was weird because I got my taste back, but I still couldn't smell anything, which was, I thought they went hand in hand. Like anytime I got sick and I had a stuffy nose, I couldn't really taste anything. But then when my nose cleared up and my throat went away, I could taste again, but I couldn't smell. And it was like, I was in my apartment and I would like spray Febreze and like try to smell it. Just be like, all right, did I smell anything? No. Okay. We'll try back in a couple hours. Like it was bad, but I mean, other than that, like I felt fine. I felt a little fatigued for like a day or two. But I didn't know if that was just because I was sitting around, and I'm not one to sit around at all. So I thought that's what, maybe that was, or if it was COVID, but my experience wasn't as bad as what others were.
Yeah, I definitely had a slightly worse experience. Same thing to this day. I still question whether I have smell. The only thing I can really smell is when my roommate's dog takes a crap. That's about it. I'm like, okay, I still got that sense, but I really. It
was all the bad smell I could smell right away, but the finer smells I couldn't smell at all.
Yeah, no, the girlfriends in the future are not gonna like that,
Right? Yeah.
What's your one biggest piece of advice that you could give to the next generation of athletes? We always ask this question. It's our staple. I want to know from Brad Keller's point of view, someone who's had a unique journey to the MLB, what would be your biggest piece of advice?
My biggest piece of advice is just to enjoy every moment that you're at. I mean, you never know how quickly it can get taken away from you. It's enjoy the journey, enjoy the path. There's no straight line to where you want to go. Like the ups and downs are what makes you who you are. Everyone has a crazy, unique story, and if the end goal is what you want it to be, it will get there. You just got to kind of keep your nose to the grindstone and keep going. I mean, I got sent down out of rookie ball. I didn't think, if I couldn't make it at rookie ball, there's no way I could even made it at low A. And big league seemed like it was so far away, but I sat there and I enjoyed every moment. I tried to, keep my mind right to where I didn't want to give up. I knew this was my goal. This was my dream. And, I just try to have as much fun as I could. Cause I mean, like I said, I didn't know how quickly it was going to get taken away from me. So, just be in the moment, live in the moment, and keep going.
Yeah. So well said, man. I think that's something that I don't know, we've had 70 athletes on here now, but a lot of pros have, they kind of get accustomed to the fact that they're in such an amazing position, and being present, and don't take it for granted because it's pretty special. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you, Brad Keller. This is an amazing episode. Throw in your Instagram and Twitter handles so that the ladies can give you some love.
It's Brad_Keller 13 on both of them.
Appreciate it. We will wrap it up. That's it, man. I appreciate you coming on the Athletes Podcast. Thank you for watching the 70th episode of the Athletes Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, and even if you didn't, I would love if you hit that like button, subscribed. It would mean a lot to me. Whether or not you liked it, that's besides the point. This is the Athletes Podcast. I hope you enjoy and have a great day. Bye.